Tian, who had traveled through time, finally opened his golden finger. However, isn't this golden finger a bit weak? Elderly star system, select the ability value of the last complete season of the star to bless the host keywords of the novel. NBA's elderly star system without pop-ups, NBA's elderly star system TXT complete collection download, NBA's elderly star system latest chapter reading. Chapter 1. Tian, you are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 1. Tian, the intense sports will give the population a tinge of blood, and among the constantly running figures on the basketball court is a yellow-skinned person. This is rare in a beautiful country full of black and white. The coach is looking for you, a teaching assistant shouted at the yellow skin. Here we go, Tian responded. Tian walked slowly into the coach's office, taking a slow breath. Coach, you're looking for me. Tian nervously looked at Coach Calipari at his desk. Calipari smiled at the nervous boy in front of him and said, "Don't be nervous, Su. I have something to announce to you." Tian excitedly thought to himself, here we go. Su, congratulations. You don't need to train with the second team anymore. You will officially join the University of Kentucky Wildcats first team. However, I want to remind you that joining the first team doesn't mean you will have stable playing time. I hope you continue to work hard and won't be kicked back to the second team by me. Coach Calipari finished speaking. Tian was already excited. Really, coach? Don't worry, coach. I will continue to work hard and won't return to the second team. Tian walked out of the coach's office excitedly, thinking about how outrageous the year he had traveled through was. A year ago, Tian was still a college student who had just graduated a year ago. The overall environment is not good, and I cannot find a job at all. I have been idle at home for a whole year. I am a seasoned basketball enthusiast who enjoys watching NBA play 2K at home. I didn't expect a chance encounter to travel here. He traveled to a Kentucky freshman named Tian. Similarly, according to convention, Tian also has his own golden finger. The old star system. However, Tian has been here for a whole year and this system has never really been activated. Just as the coach announced his official joining of the University of Kentucky's first team, the system was fully activated. Congratulations to the host for successfully joining an NCAA team. The system has been fully opened and can proceed to the first template card lottery. Finally, my dog system has finally started, Tian gritted his teeth and said. Conduct a lottery. Tian couldn't wait to release all his pent-up emotions for a whole year. The lottery is in progress, please wait. Congratulations to the host for drawing the template card, veteran star Ray Allen. Whether to use it. Yes, drip, successful use, hope the host continues to work hard. Ray Allen. Tian exclaimed in surprise. As a seasoned fan, Tian didn't know that even in his old age, Ray Allen's amazing three-pointers were quite explosive in NBA history. However, it is now 2013, and Ray Allen has not retired yet, right? System, what's going on? The host does not need to worry, as this is based on the timeline traveled by the host. Retired stars before 2022 can be drawn, and the template cards obtained by the host are the abilities possessed by these stars in their last full season. Note: it is not entirely based on the abilities of the star players, and will be reduced or improved according to the host's original strength, so that's why, Tian thought for a moment. Isn't it that I'm being criticized very well now? After all, even if Ray Allen is weak in his old age, he is still at the NBA level. Playing an NCAA is not like chopping vegetables and chopping melons. While thinking, Tian opened his own attribute panel. The attribute panel can be said to be the only useful cheat given to him by the system this year, and watching his attributes gradually increase still gives him a sense of accomplishment. Host. Tian layup. 40, 60, dunk. 25, 50, 3 points. 50, 80, medium distance. 50, 70, dribbling. 40, 60, passing. 70 external defense. 43, 60, snatching. 20, 40, cap 20, 35, backboard. 30, 45, internal defense. 20, 37, height. 195 centimeters arms span 203 centimeters dynamic body talent. C. C+, new author, writing for the first time, end of this chapter. Chapter 2. 10-Mile Slope Sword God. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 2 10-Mile Slope Sword God. Tian looked at the attribute panel and asked hesitantly, System, don't tell me, do you have to practice this yourself? Yes, host. The system template card extraction is to increase your attribute value limit, not to give you corresponding abilities directly. The system will use the host's own strength as a benchmark to make corresponding improvements and fusion. Note: it is not entirely based on the abilities of football stars, which may be reduced or improved due to the host's own strength, dog system. I waited for this for a year. I want to go home. Fuck his basketball dream. Tian's mournful howl did not change much. Tian paused for a while, looked at the system, and comforted himself. That's it, it's okay. Can still practice. At least I can still enter the NBA if I work hard enough. Relieving his good mood, Tian walked out of the basketball court. Walk towards your rented house. Tian does not live in the student dormitory of the school. He rented his own room outside. Speaking of the body that has traveled through time, although not very handsome in appearance, at least it is clean and neat. Of course, the most important thing is that this body has a good father. In this world, Tian's father is a businessman, although not wealthy, he is also above average. I run several hot pot restaurants at home, and opening a hot pot restaurant in Bashu can be said to be a steady profit without losing money. It was also because there was some extra money at home that Tian was sent to the University of Kentucky, hoping that he could be guilded overseas and then return to China to find a good job. Originally, Tian also planned to get by here. However, Tian and the dog system, who were transported through time, completely changed their life trajectory. After Tian traveled and learned that he had a system, he resolutely joined the university basketball team. Although Tian has a considerable height and excellent static talent, his basketball skills are really poor. I only spent a whole year in the second team. With Tian's excellent passing ability and excellent passing vision, he successfully entered the head coach's sight. And this is also the main reason why the coach saw him and allowed him to enter the first team. Last year, the grades at the University of Kentucky were not good. This year, the head coach and the entire team are also full of vitality, preparing to strive for higher results. This gave newcomer Tian a chance. The only person Tian is familiar with in the team is the leading star, Julius Randle. Of course, the other players in the first team are also excellent, but Tian is just a fake fan. I only know those players who have some reputation in the NBA. Currently, Tian has no intention of making friends with other players or stars. Tian's mind is full of ideas on how to improve his abilities and strive to fulfill his talents and enter the NBA as soon as possible. Tian lay in his own bed, thinking that his future path would probably be very difficult, full of sweat. I silently cursed the dog system again in my heart. By the way, I opened the system and took a look. Suddenly realized there was something I hadn't seen before. Badge. Does this dog system even have a badge? There is also a badge wall in the system, with a silver corner 3-point shooter and a bronze receiving and shooting shooter on top. Good guy, hahaha, is this system okay too? Let me see what this badge can do. Bottom corner 3-way shooter, silver. Moderately improves the stability and anti-interference ability of the 3-way shot in the bottom corner area. Catch and shooter, bronze. Slightly improves the stability and anti-interference ability of the shot during receiving and shooting. Okay, this system has some conscience, but then again, how did this badge come about? System, come out and explain it to me. The host badge is owned by the template card, and the template card extracted by the host will inherit some of its badges. The specific inheritance of badges is influenced by the host's corresponding strength. Good guy, another village with hidden willows and bright flowers. Why didn't you remind me before? You didn't ask, did you? How can I draw the next template card? When the host fully inherits the current template card, the next template card can be extracted. Sure, there's no such thing as an unbeatable path. I need to train quickly, and once I finish inheriting, I'll start the next one. Isn't it the 10-mile slope sword god when I enter the NBA? Invincible from the beginning. Hee. Tian, carrying infinite fantasies about the future, slowly fell asleep. End of this chapter. Chapter 3. Initial release. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 3. Initial release. Bang bang, the sound of the basketball hitting the ground quickly came from the basketball court from time to time. Tian is sweating profusely during training. Since the last time he joined the first team, he thought he could use the system to kill all directions, but he didn't expect the dog system to have to train himself to achieve it. So much so that Tian has been training continuously for the past month, but it is still difficult to obtain a stable playing time. Yesterday in the game against South Canada, I played a total of 25 minutes, pitched 5 3-pointers, and scored 3. Add a layup for a foul and a free throw. I scored a total of 11 points. Fortunately, with his excellent vision and passing ability, he also had 5 assists. But yesterday's 25 minutes was already the most playing time in recent times. It has to be said that Tian underestimated the heroes of the world. He thought he only needed to pay attention to the players who entered the NBA, but he didn't expect there to be so many excellent players in NCAA. Of course, the so-called excellence is compared to oneself. Tian currently plays as a defender in the team and occasionally makes a guest appearance as a small forward. But because my physical fitness is not excellent enough, I am always eaten raw by the opposing small forward. This also made Tian very depressed. You're still practicing, be careful not to get injured. I need you to pass the ball to me in March this year, Randall said. Julius, don't worry, as long as you want the ball, I can definitely deliver it to you, Tian said with a smile as he approached. Why did you come to the gym today? I'm looking for the coach, don't leave for now. When I come out, let's go together, Randall said as he walked into the coach's office. After greeting Randall with a smile, Tian turned around and continued training. As a passerby, he naturally knew who the thigh was in the team. The famous opponent against Mamba, Randall, was the player Tian had just greeted. It was the star player of the Kentucky Wildcats who was also selected by the Lakers in the 2014 draft, but later made a trading chip. Randall is not a star in the NBA, but in the NCAA, he is an absolute star. Most of Tian's passes are also aimed at him, so that the assists can be cleared. Tian practiced for a while and sat next to him to rest, while also opening his own attribute panel. Host. Tian layup. 53-60, dunk. 31-50, 3 points. 68-80, medium distance. 61-70, dribbling. 55-60, passing. 70 external defense. 55-60, snatching. 25-40, cap 29-35, backboard. 37-45, internal defense. 28-10, 37, height 195 centimeters, arms span 203 centimeters, dynamic body talent C+. Su Tian looked at his panel, and after so long, he also realized that if the attribute limit was high, the attribute would increase quickly, while if the limit was low, the attribute would increase slowly. I can't help but marvel that having talent is good, and even with casual practice, one can play in the NBA. Unfortunately, he is not considered a talent monster at the moment. The real talent monster is still this year's top scorer, Wiggins. Watching the pass stop at 70 without rising, Su Tian knew that his talent had come to an end, so he probably couldn't go up. Harmful, there's nothing we can do but rely on cheats, he. After a while, Randall walked out of the office and called Su Tian out of the gym together. Su, I have some good news to tell you secretly. The coach is preparing you to start, Randall chuckled. Really? This is really great, thank you brother. Don't worry, when you start, I promise to feed you the ball, Su Tian replied excitedly. Without mentioning the ball beforehand, could you help me get Alice's phone number? Randall asked nervously and shyly. Alice. Oh, brother, no problem. I'll bring it to you tomorrow. Wait for good news from me, Su Tian said confidently, patting his chest. Great brother, I'm waiting for your good news. See you tomorrow. Randall said contentedly. Su Tian turned around and couldn't laugh anymore. Alice. That, compared, plump classmate. I can't figure it out why these people like this kind of figure so much, I don't understand. However, the good news is that he has finally made his debut, and it's not in vain for him to work so hard during this period. Of course, making good friends with the coach and the team's thighs can also be considered an ability. The next day's training match was as Randall said, and Su Tian successfully trained with the starting group. In the starting group, Su Tian serves as the point guard. The main task is to conduct offensive sorting. I don't have the right to hold the ball and attack, and of course, I don't have this ability either. Su, you did a good job. The team needs you to pass the ball like this. Believe me, keep going and you won't have less playing time, Coach Calipari said satisfactorily. Don't worry, Coach, Su Tian replied with a sweat all over his head. Guys, March Madness is about to begin. I know some of you will leave here after March Madness ends. But I have to remind you that only when you perform well on the field, more scouts will notice you, and you will have a better future. Come on, gentlemen, I hope each of you can get the answer you want. Calipari poured a bowl of chicken soup down and the whole team screamed. Don't worry, sir, I will definitely work hard. Coach, rest assured that we will definitely win this year's championship trophy. Looking at the field, everyone made promises to the coach. Su Tian silently lowered his head. He is currently facing a very serious problem. As is well known, the physical fitness of yellow people is not comparable to that of black people. Su Tian's current serious problem is insufficient physical strength. Continuous high intensity for 30 minutes is already the limit. Plus, taking a walk to recover energy can only last for 35 minutes on the field. It seems we still need to practice, Su Tian murmured silently. Su, how's the starting lineup? Isn't it particularly enjoyable? Randall said to Su Tian as he remained silent. Su Tian looked at Randall's stiff conversation and knew that Randall was not coming for him, he must be coming for the Alice he mentioned yesterday. Randall, don't worry, I have already obtained Alice's phone number for you. I will give it to you after the training is over, Su Tian replied with a smile. Oh, great brother, I knew you could Randall was very satisfied and walked back with a smile. After the training, Su Tian gave Randall his phone number. He didn't care about how he would approach it next. Alice is just one of his classmates, and she doesn't have many interactions. When asking for a phone number, there hasn't been any bloody misunderstanding plot. Just consider it a favor to my brother. End of this chapter. Chapter 4. Reality is cruel. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 4. Reality is cruel. Hey guys, what we're facing next is real war. The University of Kansas is a strong opponent, I hope you don't underestimate them. Coach Calipari said seriously. Tian tightened his shoelaces, tidied up his wrist guard, and was ready to play. This game is a NCAA 64-gold 32 game, between the University of Kentucky and the University of Kansas. As the coach said, the University of Kansas is not weak. In history, there have also been many outstanding football stars. At present, the leading star of the University of Kansas is undoubtedly the famous belief process, AMBID. At the beginning of the game, the University of Kansas successfully secured their first possession and gave AMBID an inside shot. Offensive and defensive transitions, Tian advances with the ball. Tian stood at the top of the arc, pretending to direct the traffic. Suddenly throwing a cold arrow and hitting three-pointers, Tian's current three-pointers ability is not enough as a main attack tactic. Just used as a check to open up space for Randall to pass better. AMBID is receiving the ball and preparing to continue a strong attack from the inside. However, the center at the University of Kentucky refused with a block. Randall received the ball and shouted, run. On this side, Tian was already approaching the midfield line and received a pass from Randall. He quickly laid up and scored another goal. Turning around, the University of Kansas continued its running tactics. On the outside, the opposing small forward used running cover to shoot a three-pointer. Kentucky University is following its usual practice tactics to open up space for Randall. Randall began his dominant skill upon receiving the ball. Go on, go on, go on, go under the basket, turn around and make a layup and successfully score. Both sides fought back and forth for several rounds. The coach at the University of Kansas first called for a pause. Coach Calipari from the University of Kentucky has replaced Tian. Prepare to have Tian lead the substitute lineup. After all, a good point guard is enough to change the overall strength of a team. For example, nets with and without Kid. The University of Kentucky currently does not lack attackers, what is lacking is a point guard who can organize the attack. Led by Tian, the substitute lineup can also unleash the scoring ability of the substitute lineup, and of course, Tian can also use this to score a few more goals. When Tian returned to the field, the score between the two sides was 25.27, which was quite close, with Kentucky University trailing by 2 points. In fact, leading the substitute lineup is relatively easy for Tian, after all, Tian is also a starting player now, and has sufficient ball and command power for the substitute lineup. Don't go looking for Randall every time. With the help of a cover, Tian rushed in and attracted the support of the outside line. He passed the ball to the ground without looking at anyone, successfully giving it to the outside line. The outfielder also adjusted for 2 seconds, and during shooting training, he usually threw the ball, which successfully entered the net. After the ball entered, he also pointed to Tian, indicating a good pass. Kentucky is defending next, everyone is running quickly to counterattack, still Tian, with a long pass to his teammate. The teammate receives the ball and dunks it directly, making it exceptionally easy. Where did this kid come from? Isn't he just a weak substitute? How could he pass the ball so well? The Kansas University coach across from him asked the teaching assistant, worried and puzzled. Maybe it's Kentucky's secret weapon. The assistant coach had a constipated expression on his face. You ask me, I ask who? This kid only plays 10 minutes per game in the league. Who knows why he suddenly starts now and passes the ball so well? Of course, Tian didn't know that the opposing head coach had already begun to notice him and was still trying to limit him. Tian is very excited now, leading the substitute lineup to a frenzy and successfully opening up the score. After completing his task, he was replaced by the coach. In the end, with Randall leading the starting lineup and Tian leading the substitutes, they successfully won the game and eliminated Kansas to enter the round of 32. Tian also successfully scored 12 points, 8 assists, and 3 rebounds. He only made one mistake with 8 assists and played for 28 minutes. However, he still had a physical problem. Tian shook his head and still needed to practice. This performance is good, the next one will be even more difficult, prepare well, Calipari said to Tian with a smile. Okay, coach, Tian responded with a smile. As long as you can gain the trust of the coach, you are not afraid of not having playing time. However, how can you improve your physical strength? Tian returned to his rental room with both a happy and depressed mood. Tian looked at the upcoming round of 32 matches, and in the next round of 32 to 16 matches, the University of Kentucky will face Wichita State University. Tian thought for a moment, relying on his years of basketball fan identity, and realized that he didn't even remember a famous basketball star. Forget it, don't think about it. You can play whatever you want. Anyway, it's Randall going up to fight. When the sky collapses, there's a tall guy standing up against me. As a young kid who just started, no one should notice me. Tian said he gave up thinking. Just as Tian gave up thinking, the opposing coach had already noticed him. After all, the so-called secret weapon can only be used once, and it's not easy to use it the second time. That's why Coach Calipari reminded him that the next game will be even more difficult. In the modern information society, there is nothing to hide, especially since Tian is still the engine of the team and will definitely be noticed by the opposing head coach. It can only be said that Tian is still too young. After all, he was not a professional player before, and there is no such thing as professional competence. He is just a fake fan. In the round of 16, intense muscle collisions are taking place on the field. And Tian, sitting on the bench in frustration, looked at the opponent's head coach with a gloomy expression. This old man is really a dog, Tian whispered. After analysis by the head coach team at Wichita State University, it was found that Tian, an inconspicuous kid, was an indispensable engine for the entire team. But the shortcomings are quite obvious, lack of physical strength and confrontation, so Coach Wichita chuckled and gave me some strength. Consume his stamina. So Tian succeeded and sat on the bench early, but fortunately, with the overall strength of the University of Kentucky, he ultimately narrowly defeated his opponent 78.76. Tian was very frustrated this time. He played for a total of 15 minutes and scored 8 points and 2 assists. As soon as he grabbed the ball, the opposing defender would give him physical support. Tian was unable to effectively organize the attack and only stole 2 3-pointers from the bottom corners on both sides. Adding 2 free throws, he scored a total of 8 points. Come to my office tomorrow. Coach Calipari said to the depressed Tian. He actually has great confidence in this kid, but he still has many problems and needs help from others. Good coach, Tian replied. Tian returned home feeling depressed and checked the system. He found that Ray Allen's ability value had already been inherited by him, and it was estimated that he would be able to start the next extraction in a while. Only then did he have some comfort and fall asleep. End of this chapter. Chapter 5. Hunter. Pray. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 5 Hunter. Pray. Sit down. Looking at your gloomy expression, I think you have discovered your own problem. Coach Calipari looked at Tian's listless expression, as if he had just undergone some intense exercise. Yes, coach, Tian replied with a gloomy expression, their physical fitness is much stronger than mine, and I can't handle it. In fact, physical fitness is the key to whether you can enter the NBA. There are too many excellent players who cannot enter the NBA because their physical fitness is not excellent enough, and you need to practice more. Of course, this is not the time to practice more. If you want to solve the problem now, you can actually think about your positioning with another way of thinking. Calipari looked at Su Tian's teachings. Another way of thinking. What does it mean, coach? Su Tian asked in confusion. Su, have you ever thought about handing over the ball, using free running to drive the opponent's defense, and then making 3-point shots or passing organization? I have observed that your 3-point ability has been improving recently, which is enough to support your threat of free running. This can effectively avoid the additional physical loss caused by the opponent's body collision. Calipari slowly spoke out his thoughts, just like the little guy from Golden State, Stephen Curry. No ball. Curry. Su Tian's expression was very exciting. At first, the coach asked him to hand over the ball, but he was still reluctant. After all, in his opinion, only with the ball in hand can there be data and be seen by scouts. However, when the coach mentioned Curry, Su Tian's eyes lit up. Yes, Curry, although not holding the ball, it doesn't mean it's not important. On the contrary, people with excellent non-ball abilities are actually more likely to be favored by scouts. After all, not everyone is selected as the core. There are only 30 teams in the NBA, with only a few having a core position. On the contrary, there is a greater demand for excellent role-playing players, and the most important ability of excellent role-playing players is undoubtedly the ability to play without a ball. Moreover, the coach also mentioned the example of Curry. In Su Tian's opinion, what he likes or envies most is not Curry's 3-point ability, but it's his ability to transition from having the ball to not having the ball, and with this move, Curry can also gain more attacking opportunities, which actually increases his threat. I didn't expect this old man to understand football so well, Su Tian thought silently to himself. As a crossover player, he certainly knows how powerful Curry will be in the future, but people nowadays don't know. Without thinking, Calipari has already noticed Curry's playing style and truly understands the ball. There should be a Taran Lu understanding ball emoji pack here. Thank you coach, I understand now. I know what to do next, Su Tian gratefully replied to the coach. It's okay, child. Your future will be even more exciting. When you go back, you can watch more of Curry's game videos and learn about his ball-free running. I believe it will be helpful to you, Calipari replied satisfactorily. Su Tian walked out of the stadium full of energy and thought for a moment, why didn't even a single time traveler think of this? Instead, the head coach, an indigenous person, knew. In fact, this is the difference between professional and amateur. Even though Su Tian is a time traveler, he is just a football fan and not a professional athlete. It is normal to not expect him. Of course, he also fell into a mindset of inertia, believing that only holding the ball in hand can obtain data. It seems that in the future, not only should we practice basketball well, but we also need to learn professional basketball knowledge. Professional basketball is different, and we can find corresponding solutions in just one game. I have to say, there's something to it. Su Tian murmured to himself as he walked back home. After returning home, Su Tian couldn't wait to find Curry's game video and prepare to learn his ball-free running. As I was learning, I suddenly realized that I was learning very quickly. This learning speed was unprecedented before. What is the situation? After thinking for a while, Su Tian realized that it must be related to Ray Allen's template card. In his later years, Ray Allen was a skilled ball-free running player with excellent ball-free abilities. Learning the corresponding skills now would also be beneficial, which can be considered normal. It seems that template cards have many hidden benefits. In the future, we should pay more attention to this aspect and fully tap into the abilities of each template card. We cannot waste it. Su Tian, upholding the spirit of diligence, thrift, once again fell into his own fantasy of the 10-mile slope sword god. In the blink of an eye, we arrived at the NCAA Championship 16 in 8 race day. The University of Kentucky will face the University of Louisville in this match, and Tian adjusted his wrist guard to prepare for the game. The head coach of the University of Louisville breathed a sigh of relief when he saw Tian come on the field. Originally, Louisville was not stable in his hard work, so he could only say it was quite uncertain, but he watched the previous game and knew Tian's weakness. He pursed his lips and said, "Can't I copy homework yet?" A tactical move is to lean back, embrace your chest with both hands, and sit firmly on the bench. Today, we will also experience the joy of being a Zen master. Tian did not notice the special behavior of the opposing head coach. He focused all his attention on the field, staring at the player on the opposite side. At the beginning of the game, Kentucky seized the attacking right, and Tian pushed forward with the ball. Watching Tian holding the ball, both the head coach and the opposing players in Louisville smiled, as if they were the hunters who saw their prey enter the net. On the side of Louisville, watching Tian pass half the court, he started to get on his body. Tian turned around to protect the ball, hit the ground, and gave it to Randall who was receiving it. After Tian finished giving the ball, he immediately started running without the ball. With his fish-like body in 2 covers, he successfully received Randall's pass from the bottom corner, adjusted the ball slightly, and took a shot. At the same time, the 3-point shooter badge and the receiving and shooting badge were lit up at the bottom corner, and the basketball successfully entered the net. Seeing his successful shot, he turned around and gestured for Randall to hit the ball, quickly returning to defense. The head coach of Louisville was slightly stunned when he saw this scene, and said with uncertainty, "This should be an accident, it should be a coincidence, right?" After speaking, unconsciously sitting up straight, one is ultimately not a Zen master, lacking the composure of a Zen master. On this side, Louisville began to organize an attack, and the opposing point guard relied on their physical strength to attack Tian. Although Tian had good external defense, his body suffered and he didn't resist. However, he always maintained his position and was able to provide timely interference. The opposing point guard was preparing for a layup and was hit on the rebound with a big hand. Run. Randall quickly turned the ball after blocking the ball, and after giving it to Tian, he immediately turned around and joined the fast attack team. Tian quickly advanced with the ball, caught a glimpse of the opponent catching up in the corner of his eyes, threw the ball high, and Randall, who came from behind, grabbed the ball and made a dunk. With a bang. Randall received it empty-handed and celebrated with Tian by chest colliding. The head coach of Louisville saw that the situation was not good and called for a timeout. He had originally planned to install a Zen master, but now it has turned into a hair dryer, teaching the players loudly. It seems that this Zen master is not easy to install. Tian smiled and turned his head to look at Louisville's substitute, a smile very similar to the one on the other side just now. Now, who are hunters and who are prey again? End of this chapter. Chapter 6. Entering the top 8. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 6. Entering the top 8. After the pause ended, the head coach of Louisville stood nervously on the sidelines, no longer in his previous calm demeanor. On this field, the situation is still severe. Although Tian can avoid physical collisions by running without the ball on the offensive side, he cannot avoid it on the defensive side. The opponent still uses his body to eat raw, crushing Tian to the basket again. However, after attracting Randall to assist in defense this time, the opposing player passed the ball to a teammate who was let go, made an easy mid-shot, and the basketball was caught. With a score of 5.2, Louisville successfully broke the 0. Both sides fought back and forth for several rounds of attacking and defending each other. With the help of excellent ball-free running, Tian acted like an agile deer, interspersed between the crowd and would easily catch and shoot the ball if not paying attention, or receive the ball and directly assist the teammate. It can be said that in these few rounds, Tian played like a fish in water in terms of attack. Su Tian did not expect that after liberating the ball, he actually played more freely, making it easier than having the ball in hand, and the threat of attack was actually greater. In the first 10 minutes, the score was already 35.27, with Kentucky leading by 8 points and Su Tian scoring 11 points, along with 3 assists. It's a bit overwhelming to hit Louisville. The head coach of Louisville is now sweating profusely, his mouth like a machine gun, speaking incessantly, but all he has to say is those few words. Defense. Be good at defense. Where have your defenses gone? Get tough. Get tough. Do you understand? Crass, can you be a little harder? It's as soft as a cupcake. That yellow person has already scored 11 points on your head. What are you doing? On the contrary, on the Kentucky side, Calipari never stopped smiling at the corners of his mouth, like a KFC grandfather. Su, good job, that's it. Keep going, don't stop. Good coach, Su Tian replied with a smile. Although the coach's words made him feel a bit crooked, it must be said that it was the coach's guidance that led to the current change, and this change directly elevated his threat to a higher level. Let's not pursue what the coach said. The pause ended and the game began. As Su Tian rarely played the first 10 minutes, he did not continue to play. Instead, the Harrison brothers in the team led the substitute and played the game. When there were only 2 minutes left in the first half, Su Tian came on as a substitute. This time, the opposing team was paying attention to Su Tian's movements, thinking about who Su Tian would hand the ball to. As a result, Su Tian took advantage of the lack of attention from the other side and suddenly broke through. The defensive player on the inside looked at him and his muscles, like memories, came forward to assist in defense. Bang, Su Tian hit and passed the ball to the ground, only to see the ball pass through the defender's legs, creating a gust of wind that was a bit cool. The inner center received a pass from Su Tian and with a loud bang, dunked heavily. It's like pulling down the basketball rack. Ugh, roar, roar. There were bursts of screams coming from the scene, and the previous scene was promptly brought up for playback, causing another burst of alarm. And the inner defensive player from Louisville stood still in place with a bewildered expression on his face. Did I get my crotch pierced? Watching the player's dull gaze, the head coach of Louisville quickly replaced him, fearing that it would shake his basketball dream. After just a through-the-crotch pass and Kentucky's overwhelming attack, Louisville was no longer interested in playing. In the end, Kentucky won the game with a score of 85-67, easily advancing from 16-8. In this game, Su Tian played for 30 minutes and successfully scored 23 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds, and made 5 out of 8 three-pointers, which can be said to be extremely efficient. However, it's still the old problem of not being able to keep up with physical strength and always not getting tough at the last minute. Fortunately, this game caught the opponent off guard at the beginning, otherwise it would have been hard to say until the final decisive moment. Su Tian thought to himself, I need to come up with a way to boost my energy or learn how to allocate it. Of course, although Su Tian was already exhausted in the end, he still persevered and teammate Ching made it to the quarterfinals. Men, they can't say they can't do it, they understand what they know. The competition at the University of Kentucky has ended here, and the quarterfinals have also been announced. Their next game will be against the University of Michigan. The next day, Su Tian slowly opened his eyes and woke up from bed. He felt the soreness in his body and sighed. It seemed that he needed to restrain himself and not indulge too much. Well, after all, basketball is an intense sport, and holding the ball and breaking the bag can be very tiring. Su Tian got up and prepared breakfast while casually turning on the system. Host. Su Tian layup. 60-60, dunk. 48-50, 3 points. 78-80, medium distance. 70-70, dribbling. 60-60, passing. 70 external defense. 60-60, snatching. 39-40, 40, cap 35, 35, backboard. 45, 45, internal defense. 37, 37, height. 195 centimeters arms span 203 centimeters dynamic body talent. C+, C+, emblem. Bottom corner 3-way shooter, silver. Moderately improves the stability and anti-interference ability of the 3-way shot in the bottom corner area. Catch and shooter, bronze. Slightly improves the stability and anti-interference ability of the shot during receiving and shooting. Su Tian looked at his system panel, with only 3 points, dunks, steals, and 3 items not yet fully valued, while the rest were already full. Suddenly full of vitality, the next template card was already waving to him. Su Tian finished packing up and immediately prepared to go to the gym to practice again, focusing on these 3 items, striving to fill the entire attribute bar as soon as possible and start the next template card. I don't know who the next template card will be. Hehe, could you give me any old Kobe or old Jordan? Su Tian thought of a bright future while training. Oh. This is Su. Don't disturb him, let him practice on his own. This kid is good, even if he played well yesterday and still works so hard today. It seems that we can relax a bit next year. Coach Calipari said through the office window and the accompanying teaching assistant. That's right, I don't know if Su will participate in this year's draft. If he leaves this year, Randall will definitely leave, so we won't be so easy next year, said the assistant teacher with a puzzled expression. Calipari listened to the teaching assistant's words and was also stunned for a moment, then nodded slowly and randomly, yeah, but such a smart and hard-working player may ultimately belong to the NBA. Let's not underestimate their growth. Let's do our best for this year, and let's talk about next year. After speaking, Calipari no longer paid attention to Su Tian on the field and worked with the teaching assistant to study Michigan's tactics. I hope to go further and defeat the big tiger in front of me. End of this chapter. Chapter 7. Physical Crisis. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 7. Physical Crisis. The University of Michigan is not an unknown person, and this year's Michigan is not weak either. All 5 starting players will be selected in this year's draft. Nick Stauskas, ranked 8th in the first round, Adrian Payne, ranked 15th in the first round, Gary Harris, ranked 19th in the first round, Mickey McGauley, ranked 21st in the first round, and Glenn Robinson III, ranked 2nd in the first round. From their draft ranking, it can also be seen that their strength is not poor. On the contrary, they are all full of talents. Of course, this is equivalent to in the NCAA. In the NBA, these guys seem to have not made much noise yet. Su Tian, this fake fan, of course, doesn't know how many of these guys are. In his opinion, they are just small pawns and not worth mentioning. After all, there is a system. What's wrong with speaking louder? Cough, I didn't say it to them anymore. Anyway, it was all silently murmuring in my heart. What are you afraid of? Chris Kubo is a senior scout for the Warriors, who has worked for the team for many years. His scouting reports are also highly regarded by General Manager Mel's. However, today Kubo was a bit hesitant. Looking at the scout report in his hand, he didn't know whether to submit it to the General Manager. Name: Su Tian. Age: 19. Height: 195 centimeters. Arms span 203 centimeters. Position: point guard/shooting guard. Technical features: accurate 3-point scoring, excellent overall perspective, outstanding passing vision, and high talent in running without the ball. Disadvantages: weak physical fitness and poor competition. There are doubts about whether one can adapt to the intensity of the NBA. Template: Ray Allen/Koval. Kubo is currently facing difficulties because he really likes this little guy from China, but he does have doubts about his health, and most importantly, this year the Warriors did not have any draft picks. If you want to choose this little guy, you still have to make a trade, which is a bit more than worth the loss. The key is that the Warriors have now undergone plastic surgery and are becoming more complete, so they are not really eager for such a rookie. Alas, what should we do? Let's forget it. The most important thing for the Warriors this year is to achieve results. Potential stocks are useless, so let's focus on their combat power. Kubo said with a regretful expression, putting aside the scout report and turning his head to look at other information. Tian still doesn't know that the outside world has become interested in him, and his focus is mainly on the ball. He also looked at the draft simulation rankings provided by ESPN, and at the beginning, there was no name for him. After the last game, his name appeared in the second round, still in the top 10, which is not low to be honest. After all, with such physical fitness, no one can guarantee whether they can continue to play in the NBA. If there are any options, Tian certainly wants to go to a big city with sufficient exposure, which can effectively develop his commercial value. In addition, as a Chinese, he can receive much more endorsements than others, but he doesn't have a choice now. In Tian's view, the ranking is far less important than the team. No matter how high the ranking is, it is just that the first rookie contract is higher, far less important than choosing a suitable team for oneself. Just like the 6th pick from the Bucks many years ago, if he hadn't been selected by the Bucks and instead joined a team that suits him, his development might have been much better than it is now. Thinking of the experience of Emperor Yi, Tian also prayed in his heart, hoping to go to a place that suits him, even if the ranking is not so high. Just as Tian worked hard to practice and pray, the quarterfinals were also approaching. The sound inside the stadium was noisy, and the scene was much larger than before. Many timid players had already started to tremble. Tian also experienced such a formal competition scene for the first time. Seeing the equipped live commentary and broadcasting video station next to him, he couldn't help but tremble slightly. Of course, Tian was not nervous, but excited, so excited that his body trembled. Now his Ray Allen template card has been absorbed almost, only about 3 points of his attributes, stuck at 79 and unable to go up. Tian has a premonition that today's game may be an opportunity for him to break through. Over there, the Michigan players have also been prepared and ready to play. Both players are full of fighting spirit, as if sparks are about to jump out of their eyes. On Kentucky's side, center Stern is preparing to jump ball. When the ball reached its highest point, Stern jumped high and tried his best to drive the ball to Kentucky. Tian received the ball and slowly held it to advance, because NCAA has longer offensive rounds than NBA, so NCAA has higher tactical requirements and cooperation with teammates. Tian was not in a hurry as he held the ball and pushed forward, slowly moving forward, protecting the ball and observing Michigan's defense. As Tian slowly approached the top of the arc, the Harrison brothers on the flank took a cross-cover run, leaving Andrew Harrison with a brief vacancy. Tian promptly gave the ball, and as soon as the ball was passed, Tian immediately started running without the ball, driving the opponent's defense and attracting the attention of both defenders. Alone Harrison and time and space cut the basket, Randall caught his defensive player, Andrew Harrison passed the ball from outside to inside, and alone Harrison received the ball and made a layup. The tactics in Kentucky have been fully implemented, and everyone has completed their tasks. Calipari nodded repeatedly while watching from the side. But there was no smile, because the game had just begun and the game between the two sides was only in the exploratory stage. Offensive and defensive switch to Michigan for attack. Defender Stauskas takes the ball to Tian, and Stauskas secretly smiles. "Children, you should go back to elementary school. College is not suitable for you," Stauskas threatened and probed 3 times, while spraying out trash words. Tian was about to respond and fight back, but Stauskas took advantage of his lack of attention and took the first step, leading Tian by 1 position. "Oh, I'll go, this guy is such a dog. Do you know this is a sneak attack?" Tian quickly caught up and tried his best to provide interference. Harrison on the flank saw that Tian was trying his best, but there was no significant interference, so he had to step forward to assist in defense. Stauskas immediately passed the ball to Robinson, who was outside the 3-point line, as he caught the defender and made a 3-point shot. As Tian watched the proud Stauskas smile and defend, he silently cursed in his heart, "Dog thief. Sneak at me while I'm not paying attention. How can this be different from what is written in the novel? Shouldn't he just say a few words to me? Damn it, I must have been deceived by those authors." In fact, there is not so much time on the basketball court to talk trash to you, often just 1 or 2 sentences, and there is no chance for you to chat there. So actually, those who watch the ball know that those who really say trash are either already stopped by the referee, or they just keep repeating 1 or 2 sentences during the game. After all, attacking opportunities are fleeting and there's no chance to force you. Tian received the serve, continued to hold the ball and push forward, thinking to himself that he needed to have a long memory and couldn't pay attention to him. Tian held the ball and advanced to the front court, handing it to Randall at a high position. He began to use his swimming technique, interweaving into the opponent's defensive formation to disrupt it. Stauska followed Tian, running from the left corner to the right corner, and then to the top of the arc. Before fully catching up, Tian suddenly cut into the basket and received Harrison's pass for an easy layup. Stauska looked at Tian with a resentful expression and said, "This kid's pace is a bit eerie. He's not running fast, why is it so difficult to defend himself?" Tian successfully scored a high five with his teammate Harrison to celebrate. In the next few rounds, both sides will be evenly matched, and their moves will be exceptionally exciting. At the end of the first half, the difference between the two sides was only 1 goal, with a score of 40.42. The good news is that Kentucky leads, but the bad news is that Tian played for 20 minutes at halftime and his stamina is about to bottom out. End of this chapter. Chapter 8. Killing. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 8 Killing. In fact, after Tian fully integrated the dynamic body talent of the Ray Allen template card, his body's combat attributes increased significantly, at least not being surpassed by the opponent, and with a decent external defense in the NCAA, I can basically keep up with most players. However, due to physical reasons, Tian has always avoided playing, especially after changing his playing style. Although running without the ball avoided a lot of physical confrontation and some physical loss, however, running without a ball is inherently an activity that requires a lot of physical energy. The same goes for the defensive end. It seems that Tian couldn't resist being run over by the opponent, but in fact, Tian consciously let the opponent in and kept the interfering position, working with his teammates to defend the opponent. This 1 in and 1 out, although there were fewer confrontations, the physical strength was not well preserved, and the effective time to play was still very limited. In the first half, Tian played for 20 minutes, and in the second half, it is estimated that the coach would not let him play at the beginning. However, even if he only played in the final moments, Tian would find it difficult to complete the game. It can be said that this has always been the most serious problem accompanying Tian's physical fitness. Tian was panting heavily, sitting on the bench to recover his strength, watching his teammates and opponents attack and defend each other on the field, and sighed helplessly. When the coach let Tian play, Tian had not fully recovered yet. After Tian came on the field, he still played without the ball and relied on running to drive the opponent's defense. With 20 seconds left in the offensive round, Tian received a pass from Harrison at the bottom corner, and Stauskas tried his best to pounce. Tian made no adjustments and directly took a 3-point shot. At the same time, both the 3-point shooter badge and the receiving and shooting badge were lit up at the bottom corner. The basketball curved and successfully entered the net, with Kentucky leading by 4 points 63.59. After successfully shooting, Tian quickly returned to defense without saying a word to Stauskas. He has a long memory. On the Michigan side, Stauskas received the ball and quickly advanced to the front court before stopping to pressure time. Stauskas raised his right hand to signal his teammates to open up space and prepare for a singles match against Tian. Little friend, basketball is not how you play. You only know how to run and run. Are you a long-distance runner? Let me teach you how to play basketball, said Stauska as he tried to probe with the ball before Stauskas could finish speaking. He grabbed the ball and thrust in, trying to catch Tian off guard. You old six. Can I be deceived by you twice? Tian's attention remained highly focused and he was not deceived by Stauskas. He followed up in time. On the contrary, Stauskas, in order to interfere with Tian, broke through too quickly and didn't hold the ball steady. He was also interfered with by Tian in time, and the ball was directly released. Tian was quick in eyes and quick in hand. He reached out and grabbed the ball first. Steal. Kentucky number 5 steals Stas ball. The commentator on the bench froze excitedly. After grabbing the ball, Tian quickly held it and pushed forward. When he ran to the top of the arc in the front court, Stauska had already caught up. Seeing that time was running out and the defensive players had also caught up, Tian seemed to be blessed with his soul. After Tian entered the 3-point line with 1 foot, he quickly took a step back and instantly distanced himself from Stauska, who was chasing and defending. After taking a step back, Tian quickly took a 3-point shot. Stauskas couldn't interfere and turned his head to look at the basket. When the basketball was flying in the air, Tian still maintained the wrist pressure motion when shooting, and the basketball accurately entered the net. The camera on the sidelines quickly captured this scene, turning to look at Stauska in the basketball entering the net, and Tian still maintaining his shooting position, appearing in the same frame. Wow! The ball is in. The ball is in. Kentucky's number 5 is chasing and hitting from 3-pointers. The commentator still shouted excitedly from the commentary stand. Michigan called for a pause, and Kentucky's teammates excitedly rushed towards Tian, as if he had been hit by an ultimate kill. They were all excited, hitting their chests and touching their heads. Oh, why is there still one who slapped their buttocks? Don't do it, it's not good. The pause has ended, with Tian's last 3 runs, Kentucky leading 66.59 by 7 points. The game started again, and Tian remained on the field. Stauska looked at Tian, who was already sweating profusely, and finally smiled with a tense face throughout the whole scene. Kid, you're very tired, right? I admit you had something to do with that 3-point just now, but I'm sorry, it's my time now, Stauskas proudly said to Tian. Tian didn't pay attention to Stauskas's trash talk, but he also knew that he wouldn't be able to hold on for long, and it seemed that he needed to make more contributions in his effective playing time. Tian continued to closely follow Stauskas on the defensive end, and also ran with all his might on the offensive end. Thanks to Tian's unpredictable rhythm of running without the ball, he was able to catch 2 shots and hit 1. When Tian missed his second shot, his shooting hand had already deformed, and he knew he had reached his limit. Drop, Coach Calipari called for a timeout, and Calipari saw Tian's form and knew that he needed to be replaced. You did a good job. Your task has been completed, let's see your teammates next. Calipari patted Tian's shoulder and said. Tian nodded, he no longer had the strength to say anything more. When Tian got off the field, there were still 3 minutes left in the game, with 78.75 on both sides and Kentucky leading by 3 points. After Tian stepped down, the situation on the field remained fierce, but because both sides had expended a lot of energy, their shooting accuracy began to decline. Tian sat on the bench, observing the situation on the field while recovering his strength. I wiped my sweat with a towel over and over again, sipping on a functional drink. With less than a minute left in the game, both sides were 81.79, still leading Kentucky, but now it's Michigan's possession of the ball. Stauska held the ball from the top of the arc, making 3 threats and probing while observing the situation on the field. Suddenly, Stauska took a big step to the right and crossed into the inside line. The defensive player did not keep up as Stauska made a solid pick and roll as an inside player came over. Stauska kept the ball and charged firmly towards the inner line. Kentucky center Stern came to assist in defense. Stauska made a bow to Stern in the penalty area, but did not shake it away. He looked to the left and also slightly swung his wrist to the left. Passing the ball. Stern quickly looked to the left, but did not find the ball. However, on Stauska's side, he took advantage of the moment Stern turned his head, combined the ball and took off, pulling up the layup to score. Oh! Stauska's fake facts burst, pull up a layup. He's too clever, he dares to make such a move in a crisis, he's a big heart player. He deserves a lottery. The commentator continued to work diligently. Drop, Coach Calipari called for the last pause, and the two sides are now tied 81 with 30 seconds left, enough time to organize 2 attacks, and NCAA has a single attack time of 35 seconds, so Coach Calipari plans to press the time, increase the success rate, and even if the ultimate goal fails, he can still enter extra time, with my advantage. Sue, you'll come on the field and open up space later. Randall, you serve the sideline, Aaron, you receive the ball. Randall, after you finish serving, make a pick and roll for Sue. Sue, you attract defense. Randall, after you pick and roll, go to the low post. Aaron, you give the ball to Randall as soon as he falls to the low position. We need 2 points. Randall, don't be nervous, have a success rate, and don't panic. Coach Calipari urgently sets up tactics on his side. After listening to the coach's instructions, Tian understood that he was just a bait to attract defense. He breathed a sigh of relief, but at the same time, he had a slight flaw. After all, he was not the leader of the team. The winning goal was originally exclusive to the leader of the team. The tactical setup here has been completed, the pause has ended, and both players have come on stage. Stauska was also stunned when he saw Tian come on the field, and then didn't say anything. At this tense moment, he is not interested in talking trash and just wants to win the game. Randall stood on the sidelines, receiving the ball from the referee and preparing to serve. End of this chapter. Chapter 9. Strike. Extract a new card. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 9 Strike. Extract a new card. Randall stood on the sidelines, ready to serve, and the ball was successfully sent to Aaron, who came to receive it. Randall followed the tactic and made a pick and roll for Tian, who then used the pick and roll to run towards the other corner. Randall successfully fell to the low post, Aaron passed the ball in time, and Randall fought with the defender on his back, forcefully attacking the inside line. A few, 2, 3 times, Randall felt like he was about to fight, ready to turn around and lay up. Suddenly, Stauska, who was defending Tian, ran to assist with the double team. What Stauskas was actually thinking was that Tian was already exhausted. Even if he was given 3 pointers, he might not be able to pitch, but on Randall's side, if he were really allowed to score completely on point 1, he would have scored 8 goals. Therefore, facing an 80% goal and a less than 30% goal, it was very easy to choose. On Randall's side, when he turned around, he didn't notice Stauskas coming in from the basket. When he took the layup, Stauskas's basket had already arrived. Bang, the basketball hit the basket and jumped twice. The Michigan center took off on the first jump of the ball to grab the rebound, only to realize that the ball was still above the basket and did not reach out rashly, afraid of giving an interfering ball. As a result, this gave Stern a chance later on. When Stern took off, he took a beat slower than the opponent and thought he couldn't grab it. However, the ball bounced again, so he picked up the ball and took the rebound. Stern immediately grabbed the rebound and protected the ball with both hands, preparing to pass it back to Randall, but Stoska came from Randall's side and couldn't find a chance to pass. Stern's dribbling ability was already quite worrying, and now he can't give it to Randall, who is also jumping in a hurry. At this moment, Stern suddenly noticed Su Tian being let out of the three-point line. Although he didn't really believe in Su Tian's shooting in this state, he didn't have time to think about these things in a hurry. He wanted to quickly give the ball out. More importantly, there is no one in Su Tian's direction. It's easier to hit the ball. So Stern passed the ball vigorously to Su Tian, who was no longer at the 0 angle, but not at the 45-degree angle, about 30 degrees. When Su Tian received the ball, he was also stunned for a moment. He didn't know if this position could work, but he couldn't care too much because time was coming. Su Tian bent his knees, took a shot, pressed his wrist, and made a standard Ray Allen 2-part shot. While he was shooting, the corner 3-point shooter and the receiving and shooting shooter lit up simultaneously. Schwa. The sound of basketball entering the net and the sound of time ending simultaneously sounded. Strike. This is a kill. Kentucky player 5 killed Michigan. Who is he? What is his name? He actually threw a kill. The commentator was so excited that he couldn't help but say, "Oh." The referee signaled to watch the replay to see if there was time left, and the referee signaled, "Kill." Absolute kill. Michigan was killed. Oh my goodness. Su Tian hasn't finished installing it yet. Oh, no, he hasn't reacted yet. The Kentucky teammates over there have already pounced, touching their heads, hitting their chests, and patting their buttocks. Calipari also roared with excitement. Kentucky successfully made it to the semifinals. The whole game ended. Kentucky defeated Michigan 84.81, and Su Tian shone throughout the game, scoring 25 points, 7 assists, and 3 rebounds. He made a total of 5 three-pointers and also made 2 steals. Of course, there were also 2 mistakes, but it was not a big deal. The celebration in Kentucky is intense here, while the players in Michigan have a relatively low pressure. Stoska was the last one to leave. He looked at Su Tian, who was still celebrating with his teammates, and pursed his lips without saying anything more. Just silently murmured in my heart, "NBA is waiting for you." After celebrating with his teammates, Su Tian sat on the bus back, and before he could fully seat himself, he eagerly opened the system. Congratulations host, the Ray Allen template card has been fully integrated. Do you want to start the next template card extraction? Yes. Su Tian's excited body trembled slightly, and Randall saw Su Tian's excited appearance, thinking it was his first time winning the battle. He was too excited and had not yet recovered. After all, it's the first time. Understood. Template card extraction in progress. Succeeded in extraction. Congratulations to the host. We have selected the Bold Star and Gary Payton template card. We hope the host can continue to work hard. Gary Payton. Oh. I'm not defending anyone anymore. Ha ha ha. Su Tian couldn't help but smile uncontrollably as his mouth curled up. Gary Payton, as the only NBA player in history to win the Best Defensive Player award as a point guard, has unquestionable defensive abilities. Open the property panel. Host. Su Tian layup. 61-65, dunk. 51-54, 3 points. 80 medium distance. 71-75, dribbling. 62-75, passing. 71-73, external defense. 63-80, snatching. 51-70, cap 36-37, backboard. 45 internal defense. 37-40, height. 195 cm arms span 203 cm dynamic body talent. C+, B, emblem. Bottom corner 3-way shooter, silver. Moderately improves the stability and anti-interference ability of the 3-way shot in the bottom corner area. Catch and shooter, bronze. Slightly improves the stability and anti-interference ability of the shot during receiving and shooting. The newly added badges include Thief, silver. Moderately increases the success rate of steals during defense. And reduce fouls. Death Rap, copper. Slightly increases the strength of the stickers and interference. Pick and roll dodger, copper. Slightly increases the chance of successfully bypassing the pick and roll. Defensive shock, bronze. Slightly reduces the shooting percentage of opposing players. Tian looked at the additional attribute limit and the 4 new badges, as if he was the foolish son of the landlord's family. All 4 badges are for defense. This time, defense has stabilized and attributes have increased significantly, except for 3-pointers and rebounds, all other attributes have improved. Tian murmured to himself, yes, Gary Payton, as a point guard, has improved significantly, which is also a normal phenomenon. Hey, even my strongest talent, passing, has improved. Not bad, not bad. Tian looked at the attribute bar and badge wall, feeling a sense of self-cultivation and satisfaction. Thanks to the last chance discovery of some unknown hidden benefits of template cards, Tianchang remembered this time and just returned home. He found Gary Payton's game video. See if you can learn more from the video to enrich your arsenal. Tian originally had a mentality of hitting a stick with or without dates, but he didn't expect to really learn anything. However, when Tian saw a pitching collection by Gary Payton, he felt a bit different. This familiar feeling. Yes, that's it. Tian exclaimed excitedly. Tian watched Gary Payton's pitching video and had a clear reaction, knowing that he had made another profit. It seems that the previous speculation was not bad, and the template card does have considerable potential for exploration, Tian thought silently to himself. I'm going to the gym tomorrow to practice and see the results. Of course, learning cannot put the cart before the horse. Payton's strongest defense is still his. Whether it's defending with or without the ball, Payton is quite skilled, and learning Payton's defense is the main thing. After watching the video, Tian lay in a wooden shape on the bed, thinking to himself, friends who don't know about the next game, are you ready? Hee 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 hee. End of this chapter. Chapter 10. Top 4 Tournament, Throwing for Merit. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Chapter 10. Top 4 Tournament, Throwing for Merit. Kentucky successfully made it to the semi-finals, but Coach Calipari's job suddenly became heavy again. Because I used to think that I would do my best and play whatever I could, but now I have reached the semi-finals. Which team that can make it to the semi-finals didn't expect to win the championship? So, Coach Calipari is also eager to study his opponents for the next game. Even if there is a slight possibility of winning, he will not give up. In the Kentucky semi-finals, they will face the University of Wisconsin. There are not many individual players worth noting at the University of Wisconsin, but there are also some excellent players, such as Frank Kaminsky, who will be selected in the 9th overall pick in the first round of the 15-year draft, and Sam Decker, who will be selected in the 18th overall pick in the first round. What is more noteworthy about Wisconsin is their overall nature, with clear division of labor and coordinated player cooperation, making them a team-oriented team. Just as Kentucky was preparing for the next game, there was already a lot of discussion outside about this game. After all, the ultimate kill, dark horse, and the following elements are the most adrenaline-pumping plotlines of March Madness. Kentucky's performance, without a doubt, perfectly fits these plotlines. With only the 8th seed, they successfully made it to the top 4, which can be said to be the following elements. Combined with the tumultuous plot of the final kill, it makes people both nervous and excited. Kentucky 5's ultimate victory over Michigan. Advance to the semi-finals, kill the kid. Who is he? Mysterious Chinese player, ultimate victory over Michigan. Reports poured in one after another. While the outside world was discussing who this mysterious number 5 player was, Tian and his Kentucky teammates were still working hard to prepare for the game in the stadium. Thanks to Coach Calipari's foresight, players were banned from accessing social media before the quarterfinals. This undoubtedly provides a good preparation environment for these immature children. Children, I know you've just experienced a wonderful game and you're all excited, Calipari said solemnly as the team finished today's training. However, I have to remind you that the war is not over yet, and no one knows what will happen in the last second. Children, for the championship and your future, keep working hard. Yes, coach. The team members replied excitedly. Tian was also very excited, thinking that Coach Calipari's chicken soup is always so useful, maybe he can pour chicken soup into the NBA in the future. During this period, Tian has also been constantly familiarizing himself with the bonuses of Gary Payton's template cards, and he can clearly feel that his defense has greatly improved. At the same time, he also made an unexpected close-range throw. Although he is not yet very proficient, his progress speed is very fast, and I believe he will be able to fully grasp it soon. However, for the upcoming game, he can only use it to steal 1 or 2 chickens. In the blink of an eye, the semi-finals have arrived. The semi-finals between the top 4 teams have high standards and complete supporting facilities. Tian, who has relevant experience, is proficient in exercising his body to avoid injuries during the competition. With a whistle from the referee, the game began. Kaminsky from Wisconsin grabbed the ball and the opponent took the lead. After the opposing defender advanced the ball into half-court, he handed it to Kaminsky, who had already been elevated to a high position. Kaminsky's skills are relatively comprehensive. After receiving the ball, he did not rush to attack, but slowly observed the situation on the field. After crossing the wings to cover the run, Decker suddenly cut inside and took away 2 defensive players, causing problems with Kentucky's defensive communication. After Decker attracted the defense, the outside players were empty, and Kaminsky gave the ball in time. The outside players started and fell, scoring 3 points into the net. The attack and defense changed, and Tian slowly advanced with the ball. Seeing the opponent's smooth coordination, Tian knew that this game might not be as easy to play. Tian gave the ball to Randall and ran without the ball to open up space. After receiving the ball, Randall turned his back and headed inside. 1-2, Randall hit the basket twice, turned around and successfully laid up. It seems that Randall has a strong desire to perform in this game, Tian, who turned around to defend, muttered to himself as he looked at Randall with a serious expression on his face. In the next few goals, Tian also consciously went to find Randall, running without the ball to open up space or disrupting the opponent's defensive formation. Until the end of the first half, he only scored 5 points and provided 3 assists. This time, Tian still played the full first half, but he wasn't as tired as last time. On the one hand, it was because in the first half, he didn't attack much and gave all the opportunities to Randall. On the other hand, of course, it is because Tian's physical fitness has improved and his physical strength has also been well replenished. Starting from the second half, Randall did not play. He was the main attacker in the first half and now needs to rest. During this period, the team will be led by Tian. Tian looked up and saw the score on the field. It was 37-35, with Kentucky leading by a narrow margin of 2 points. Tian held the ball at the top of the arc and called for a pick and roll against Decker's defense. With Stern's solid cover, he held the ball and broke through. On Decker's side, seeing Tian calling for a pick and roll, he turned around and chased Tian relentlessly. When Tian rushed to the free throw line, he was already caught up by Decker and engaged in a fierce physical collision with Decker. While facing each other, he stumbled into the basket. When he rushed to the basket, Decker had already completely blocked between Tian and the basket, and his excellent defensive awareness was also praised by the scouts on the sidelines who nodded repeatedly. Tian looked at the situation and couldn't do anything. He turned his back and made a half-turn, attracting Decker's defensive attention. Suddenly, he crouched down and crawled towards the basket. A low-handed throw and the basketball bounced into the frame. Gary Payton's small throw caught the opponent off guard. Decker's face was uncertain, and he didn't know what he was thinking. Turning around, after several screen changes, Tian defended in front of Decker. Decker received the ball and made 3 threats. "Kid, are you still holding grudges? TSK, if you have the guts, come single me, like a man, my boy." Tian's despicable expression coupled with trash words really deserves to be beaten. Decker raised his eyebrows and without hesitation, after probing with his left foot, he took over a person and turned forward, preparing to thrust to the right. However, it was obvious that Decker's transformation was not significant, but the impact was strong, indicating that he still wanted to use his body to force Tian. It seems that Decker has clearly done his homework and knows that Tian's body is weak. But this is different from the past. During Decker's transformation, Tian had already made predictions, and Decker's transformation was not significant, so he easily followed suit. The death wrap badge immediately lit up, and he saw the timing. With a sudden sweep of his right hand, the thief's badge lit up, and the ball was successfully hit. Tian was the first to grab the ball, holding it and rushing towards the front court, followed closely by Decker. When they rushed to the penalty area, the two collided with each other's bodies, and Tian immediately jumped and threw the ball. At the same time, the referee's whistle sounded, and the ball accurately entered the frame. End of this chapter.